This is Indigo Studio, and I'm Hermine Hartman. What does Bill Cosby, The Ellen Show, Kevin Hart, Christy Teigen, David Chappelle, what do they have in common? Well, they're all victims of cancel culture. That's the topic today. It's a new social media practice that can hurt or even cancel careers. What is cancel culture, and how does it work? That's what we're going to find out today in a Chicago conversation. We're going to talk to those who know. We're going to talk to an activist, minister, a marketing consultant, and a radio TV personality. Stay with us. Interesting conversation. Welcome to Indigo Studio. We've got a real session today. Cancel culture. We're going to talk about it, what it is. It's kind of new with social media. Our guest, Bishop Tavis Grant, he is the National Field Director with Rainbow Push. Leon Rogers, radio TV personality with iHeartRadio. And Mary Datcher, she is now a marketing consultant. Bishop, what is cancel culture?
Part of our challenge in this culture is realizing that everything is not associated with social justice. So first of all, it's not social justice, it's not civil rights. In its essence, it is with any group or any sector of our society find someone who has been egregious, gone outside the boundaries, the margins, said something or done something that is repugnant or atrocious or unacceptable. That particular group's purpose is to shut them down, cut them off from a livelihood, take down their platform, and basically annihilate them.
Kind of catch-22 for me on that, because I don't think some things can be cultured, even by the great and mighty cancel culture. I think some things are stronger than the cancel culture. I do think when you go on social media, all it takes is for one person to start the chain, and then everybody jumps on. I like to call it piling on or bullying, depending on what it's about. You know, you get one person to say this about this person. Well, I don't like what he said. Then the next thing you know, here we go. Twitter's on fire, Instagram's on fire, Facebook's on fire. But I do feel that there are some things that, and some people, unfortunately, that can't be canceled. I don't care what you do. They're gonna still have a fan base. They're still gonna make money.
The cancel culture, the effect of it is to stop you, to cancel you, to prevent you, to ostracize.
But
right?
let's be honest, Bill Cosby does a 1-hour special right now. It'd be one of the most watched things on TV.
Incredible, shocked the world.
Because everybody wants to hear his side of the story.
To say.
So, I mean, and not saying it's right or wrong, I'm not here to judge. And at the end of the day, everybody should be entitled to their opinion. Understand that there are consequences for your opinion, but being canceled, being forced not to make a living or whatever because people just deem like, we don't like you for this, so we're gonna get rid of you.
The wrong hands, you can be doing something for the fun of it. Is it race? Is it sex? Is it gender? Is it transgender?
It's all of the above. It's
all
of the above, because what happens is that in the world of social media, because a lot of it has derived from social media, it has empowered people to feel like they can voice however, whenever, and to whom they want to at any given time, and there is no filter.
I mean, we came up with LaWanda Page, Red Fox, and Richard Pryor. These were blue comedians. We had, I don't want to date anybody, but we had to sneak, and when our parents left home, we had to sneak, put those albums on, and go, oh my, I can't believe, and what is that? And they would explain, what is Red Fox talking about? What is Richard Pryor talking about? They have eliminated growth, maturity, and evolving. And when you listen to Dave Chappelle, you see someone in their craft evolving, taking on a real social issue that requires some conversation, some discussion, and some emotion. When he talks about Daphne and goes into great detail.
So talk about Daphne, talk about what that is.
A comedian that he allowed to open for him, who was transgender. And he befriended her and she befriended him, and they grew. And because she embraced him in such a way, the same people who turned on Dave Chappelle turned on her to the degree that she committed suicide.
Dave Chappelle is the GOAT, as far as I'm concerned.
Say it loud
with
and
taking
proud.
everyday life situations and bringing them to you and painting a picture where you laugh, but at the same time, you learn. And I think that's what I've always, people that I admired in the comedy game, like Damien Williams, Tony Schofield, my big brother, George Wilborn, comedians have that knack of making you laugh at something that you probably shouldn't be laughing at, but at the end of the day, you sit back and be like, wow, never looked at it that way. Like you said, Dave Chappelle didn't only take shots at LGBTQIA+, he also talked about the feminist movement. He also talked about, like, remember when he did about Jussie Smollett, like
Yes.
Sticks and Stones. This is stemming from
Yes.
Sticks and Stones.
Yes.
So when people say, oh, we're gonna cancel Dave Chappelle, you couldn't cancel him on Sticks and Stones. And he did the same thing. And I love the fact where he said, I'm not addressing this anymore. You guys are not gonna come out my mouth anymore about this. This is the last time you'll hear me talk
So
about
what
it.
about Ellen? Ellen got in trouble. She lost her show last season because they said that her
Ellen
environment was toxic. Is that different or the same?
It is
Super
different
different.
because
What's the
there are
difference?
people who allege that they were approached, they were involved, and they were violated.
So let's just break it down, because at the very beginning of Chappelle's special, he made a very prolific and poignant statement. It was a question.
Yes.
Do you think gay people can be racist? And
Of
that's
course
how
they
he
can be.
kicked it off, so that it gives you a real opening to the difference. He also made reference to the baby.
That's
Yes.
what did it for
And
me.
that
Yeah.
was
Like
shocking.
we could talk openly about black men being killed in the street and the music and everything else, but time I offend you or hurt your feelings, this community over here, now y'all want to cancel me.
You don't know how many people who would have never watched Dave Chappelle watch Dave Chappelle.
Now
it's a
watch.
double-edged sword.
That's what I'm
it
saying, it's
depends on
marketing.
who's holding the sword. When you talk about Donald Trump and how inflammatory and how indignant
Gaslighting.
and how grossly insulting he has been, and yet he is still a power to be reckoned with. I think where it loses its value in the culture is that it is not subjected to any real standard, sustainable standard, that when you reach that threshold, anybody in any genre, this is how we apply it. When you use the N-word, there's a standard.
Yeah.
When you shoot and kill black unarmed people, there's now a standard. It is not as subjective as it used to be. And now we're seeing prosecutors now being prosecuted for malfeasance on their level.
And policemen put in jail.
Policemen are
But
being
Bishop,
convicted.
do we have to, you know, I always one thing I will say about the LGBTQ community, when they move on something,
They
they
move.
move
They
as
move
a
in
unit.
unison.
Like they ain't playing, it ain't no 3 or 4 of them. They all pick up the spear and the shield, and they go 300 on us. Like, as African Americans, I felt like if we would do that in our communities, a lot of stuff would change too, but we somehow don't seem to do that. And I'm not talking about cancel culture, I'm just getting stuff done. Because cancel culture, you have to have a group of people to get that done.
It's a
It can't
mass- it's a mass effort.
It's
We have to decide like they decide in their community. Here is what our expectation is, and no is not an option. When you look at the fact that the George Floyd bill is still sitting on the desk, it's dead on arrival.
But the Asian hate bill got passed.
Asian hate bill got passed 94-2. And now, in a moment, a twinkle of an eye, they want to wipe out Dave Chappelle's career. We've never moved like that in a very, very long time in a consistent way to say, whether it's education, whether it's employment, whether it's economics, here is our standard now as a community. And the standard's not coming down. If it does anything else,
Holds
Mary,
to it.
it's going to another level.
Right.
We've not, and that's why I want to say this again. We've not evolved to that point to where we're independent enough in our thinking and bold enough and unapologetic in our thinking to say, this is what we want, and there is no option. There's a $3 trillion bill on the table. $3 trillion. Do you know how many billions of dollars it makes to make 1 trillion? And we're still sitting around talking about, can we raise the minimum wage to $15? We don't have a standard, and that's, you have to give them credit. They at least have that ceiling, and when you hit it, they go at it.
Yeah, but where do they learn it from? See, that's the next phase.
It comes from civil rights movement.
There you go.
Thanks for being with us today. This was a great discussion on cancel culture, something new, a new phenomena through social media in our environment right now. Thanks for being with us. This is Indigo Studio. See you next time.